Did you know that Zendaya was supposed to be second to Bella Thorne, but she quickly growing into a fan favorite and so many of the fans loving to check her out, it ended up being an even playing field with her and Bella Thorne both being the stars. Now, I know there's going to be people who state, well, they were pitched as co-leads on promotion material and so on and so forth. However, the one that was being pushed to the forefront was Bella Thorne. And if you notice, the show took place majority of the time within Bella's home. So if it was equally balanced, you would have seen both of their homes, but Rocky was always climbing through Cece's window. So as I'm trying to explain that, yes, there were two best friends on the show. However, it was pitched where Bella Thorne was the first in command and Rocky was pitched as the second in command. This moment reveals how talent, charisma, and perfect timing can subtly challenge the expectations of the roles assigned to individuals. Initially, the show adhered to a well-known Disney template, a prominently featured lead with the best friend revolving around her. This sidekick position, particularly for Black girls in mainstream children's television during the early 2010s, often came with restrictions. You could be humorous, supportive, or even steal the spotlight at times, but you were rarely seen as the emotional or narrative core. Zendaya broke away from that mold and did not conform to the role as it was intended. She immediately charmed the crowd. She immediately became the fan favorite, and as we see now, she became a star.
I was on Shake It Up before it started coming on the air, and I watched how those kids were when nobody had seen the show yet, and then I watched what happened after the show aired. Before the show aired, all of the attention was on Bella. Shake It Up hit the airwaves, it shifted to Zendaya. Even though that was happening, it didn't shift her.
And I do want to preface that I really did love Zendaya and Bella Thorne's chemistry on Shake It Up. It would not be a Shake It Up without Bella Thorne, so I don't want to excuse that. I think every piece of the puzzle that they had was so unique. It's just really sad that we're not going to get another Disney like that because it's something that just can't be duplicated. Just can't be duplicated.
Christ's love isn't like everybody else's love. It's not like the world's love. The world's love loves you when you do things right or when you do things with them. But as soon as you make a mistake, they take that love away. But what I've experienced with the love of Christ is that it loves first. It loves through wrongdoing. It loves when you shouldn't be loved anymore. It's unconditional. And that's the love that I believe is going to change the world and has changed me.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Micaiah. I'm back and I'm black and I'm back and I'm black and I'm back and I'm black and I'm back and I'm black.
Yo, Sasha here. Excuse me? Supermodels do not fly business class. Now, I'm not gonna demand a private jet, but I think Jag could at least spring for first class.
Today, I am bringing you all another video diving into Shake It Up.
The show is called Shake It Up, and it's about Rocky and Cece, two best friends that love each other so much, and it's basically about their dream to become professional dancers, and they finally get an opportunity when they get to audition for their favorite dance show called Shake It Up Chicago. So it's kind of about their adventures on the show, all the crazy situations they get into, and just enjoying everything.
Many do not know, but Zendaya was actually pitched to be number 2 while Bella Thorne was pushed to being in the forefront. But as we've seen with the trajectory of the show and how much the fan base really loves Zendaya, she was pushed to that equal spot and she was actually the breakout star from the show. And I find this to be so fascinating and interesting personally for me, even when I learned this years and top of years ago when I was younger, and I'm like, dang, it's crazy to think that Zendaya was actually supposed to be more so of the side character, but she easily became the fan favorite. And that's why whatever destined for you and wherever you're supposed to be placed, you will be. And as we've seen since then, Zendaya's career has skyrocketed and she has not stopped. But before I dive deeper into the video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to see more of me. And if you're new, hey, and if you're a returner, I really, truly appreciate the love. If you get the chance, please check out my social media platforms. down within the description box and on the screen, where I display my passion for fashion along with other interests that I have. And for all who are new, you should know I do an array of topics. I am extremely diverse. I do more nerdy topics, I do nostalgic topics, and I do more conscious topics. Plus, I dibble and dabble within vlogs. So we do a little bit of everything around here. I'm your girl. So let's get back into the video. Zendaya exuded a grounded charisma that didn't seek attention. It commanded it. Her portrayal of Rocky was marked by restraint, impeccable timing, and natural quality that stood in stark contrast to the show's heightened energy. Rather than blending into the background, she established a sense of balance. Audiences were attuned to this. Children may not express in industry jargon, but they can spot authenticity when it's present. What's crucial here is that the change wasn't merely about gaining popularity, it was about recentering the narrative. The show transformed into a dual lead structure because it was necessary. The chemistry between Zendaya and Bella Thorne thrived best when they were on equal footing, rather than when one was positioned as quote-unquote above the other in the story. This adjustment showcases something exceptional, a production genuinely responding to audiences' perceptions in real time. What's destined for you can't be ripped away from you, and also when you are prepared when opportunities arise. She didn't merely attract attention, she transformed the environment she occupied. That represents a unique form of strength. And she rose to the occasion when the table was laid out for her. If you examine her career today, you'll notice the reoccurring theme. She steps into an environment where expectations are already established. Disney Channel, Spider-Man, Euphoria. She grasps the tone and the guidelines of that environment. Then she gently broadens those boundaries without any pressure. She doesn't merely accept roles, she transforms them. There's a cultural aspect that must not be overlooked. It questions subtle beliefs about who is highlighted, who possesses depth, and who can be universally understood. So indeed, it's fascinating, but it's also educational. It demonstrates that occasionally the part you're assigned is merely a beginning. What you make of it can alter the whole framework surrounding you. Shake It Up is actually one of my favorite Disney Channel shows. It's one of the last great shows that we had. I rewatched it about a year or two ago, and it's one of those comfort shows. It had a nice balance of humor, friendship, family, and I loved it. But I've always loved Bella Thorne's and Zendaya's chemistry, and to me, from the beginning, I think it would have been smarter to just cast both of them as equals, as opposed to Bella Thorne being the lead character and Zendaya being the side character. But as you know, Disney always has that pattern of like the black friend being the side character. And if you know, you know, the only one that didn't fit into this, or the only few shows that didn't fit into this, were of course That's So Raven, Cory in the House. But it's very few shows where the black character was not the side character. We had Good Luck Charlie. We even had the cartoons with American Dragon Jake Long, okay? The list goes on when it comes to the black individual being the side character. But what I found interesting with Zendaya is that she couldn't be pushed to the background because of how much the fans loved her. And I think it had a lot to do with optics, of course, too. However, what's ever destined for you will be so, because even during the show and a little bit after the show, she ended up tapping into modeling and all these different realms. And Disney actually was such a great avenue for her, and it seems as if she's in a great mental space. I think she's one of the Disney stars that I feel like flourished in the right way and went down more so of the right path when it comes to their career. They didn't have to have this rebellious spirit to them and break out. She just naturally transitioned into adulthood and where she is now. And as we've seen, she's married and just different things like that. I think she's one of the great examples of how the Disney formula worked for her, but in such a positive way.
So one thing we're not going to do is disrespect Zendaya and her contribution to Disney Channel, especially in the late 2010s. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Tatiana, aka your Melanie Wise Girl, and I'm quickly going to touch on Zendaya's impact on Disney because y'all have been tripping over that AI-generated Disney Route Rushmore thing for way too long and dismissing my girl way too much. So we have to think about what Disney Channel looks like in 2015. Austin and Ally, Jessie were all finishing their final seasons, and the channel was looking for fresh and new material. But there was also another thing that Disney was lacking. People of color. Austin and Ally barely had one with Trish, and Girl Meets World had a dynamic, that's for sure. So that's when Zendaya comes in. She's actually quoted in Variety saying just this, being one of the reasons why she came back for Casey Undercover, her show that she starred and executive produced in, was because there weren't a lot of families of color on the channel. So she wanted to return to change that, and that she did. Because Casey Undercover got such good views and drove people back to the channel, a lot because Zendaya was returning to the channel, it caused a sort of spike in diverse content from the network. Stuck in the Middle, surrounding a Hispanic family starring Jenny Ortega. Then we had Bizarre, which may have not starred a family, but had two Asian American leads, one of them being Olivia Rodrigo. Then we had Raven's Home after that. Andy Mack, which dealt with teenage pregnancy and also had an Asian American lead. But that being said, that was all ushered in by Casey Undercover, by Zendaya returning to the network, seeing a network within this time frame of, I say, 2016 to 2018, of so many diverse families and faces that kids were able to see. Now, I'm not saying that it was all POC, but it was majority, which was rarity on a network, especially since Casey Undercover was the first show in over a decade to feature an African-American family. So before we all go and judge Zendaya's Disney Channel cred and if she truly needs to be on the Disney Channel Hall of Fame, let's think about the fact that not only was she the reason behind Jenny Ortega and Olivia Rodrigo getting their start, but overall ushered in a very diverse round of content and changed ultimately that network for a period of time.
And as we know, this Disney formula has not worked for a lot of people. Even those who are still successful, you can tell that they've had a lot of different struggles and issues. And I'm not saying she didn't have it, but I'll say that with her being on this show, she was able to truly tap into various different realms. Modeling, she's an outstanding actress. I cannot take that from her. She really is an outstanding actress. But I love how she was a character that people love to see on her screen. And as we've seen, she ended up getting her own show with Casey Undercover, which was actually pretty good. And a lot of times when we talk about the Disney legacy, I see many people leave this out of it. And I think this is something very important to mention, is because anything can change. Anything can change for you within your predicaments. You could think that you're being pushed to the background, and different people that were working behind the scenes couldn't see it, but the fans seen it, we seen it, and we love to see Zendaya as Rocky on our screen. And hey, listen, she ended up being on one of the most iconic shows on Disney Channel. She ended up getting her own show. She ended up flourishing, reaching higher heights within the Disney franchise, going into music and so on and so forth, and now she's one of the biggest actresses out. So to me, this was more so of an encouragement as well, is that don't allow anyone to tell you who you can't and can be, because look at where Zendaya is at now, and quickly how that number 2 surpassed the number 1, and look at where Zendaya is now. She's doing such great things, and this is not to bash Bella Thorne, but this is just to show that you don't know the possibilities of what's out there for you, and that's why it's important for us to trust in the Lord and really lean on Him, and even make the best of that number 2 spot, because look at her. She shined so bright during that number 2 spot, and now she's the biggest actress, and even on that show she rose to being an equal with Bella Thorne. One thing I've always respected about Zendaya is that she's always one that speaks out about colorism, and she speaks about the privilege that she has, and she understands that, and how she feels like she has a level of responsibility to make sure that she's not perpetuating that or participating in that. That's why she doesn't take certain roles, and I respect that about Zendaya. That's one thing I really do respect, is because you're not going to really hear many people state that, and there's been a lot of people who have fed into the colorist issues, but I'll say with her, she has not. And even we know with the optics of how she looks, that was another reason why she was able to climb up the ladder. However, you can't deny her talent And I feel like the way she maneuvers throughout the industry with a certain level of poise, class, and kindness towards others, I think that's another reason why she's so likable and why she continues to flourish in the industry. And it seems to be that she stays out the way, she stays out of the public eye. And I love how even within her marriage and her engagement, her and her husband kept that very private. She likes to separate her two worlds when it comes to her being in the spotlight, but also her privacy. And even as you've seen as she's grown up and who she's flourished into. And I do want to preface that I really did love Zendaya and Bella Thorne's chemistry on Shake It Up. It would not be a Shake It Up without Bella Thorne, so I don't want to excuse that. I think every piece of the puzzle that they had was so unique, and the show was very bubbly and it was very much in your face. And I may do a video on Shake It Up because I really love Shake It Up. It inspired a lot of my fashion during that time. I know some would call that fashion tacky, but I think a lot of that fashion was still just unique and fun and expressive. And that's one thing I do miss about that time period. But everyone was needed on that show, and that's the reason why Shake It Up is one of the most memorable shows on Disney Channel, especially for many people around my generation, because it was just very close to our hearts when it comes to the component of dancing. It was very colorful, it was funny, it just had so many different aspects that I loved. And it's just really sad that we're not going to get another Disney like that, because it's something that just can't be duplicated, But I'm interested to know you all's thoughts on the matter. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you like Shake It Up? What's your thoughts on Zendaya herself? I'm open to all perspectives, but as I always state, we must be respectful down within the comment section. And I want you all to remember that you are loved by the God who created the universe. He made you for such a special purpose. There's no mistake as to why you're here on this earth. You were uniquely made. You were handpicked by him. So I thank you all so much, and I can't wait to check you all out in the next video. Stay blessed, everyone.